Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's action here for the ESL One Genting SEA qualifiers. Day number 1 was a bit of a... we had some issues here, we got to cast one game, but now we are in the round of 8 best of 3 area here. And the round of 8 is actually the end of this bracket because 4 teams make it from the opens to the closed qualifiers here for ESL One Genting 2018. My name is DragonDrop. Happy to bring you this series between Team 425, Mongolian squad, and New Beginning. Probably coming in as the favorites here into this particular matchup. And for this one, I'm not alone. I'm joined by the Thunder from Down Under. It's Roger Dodger. How you doing?
Pretty good, thanks. How you doing?
Doing great here. Ready for some nice SEA Dota. New Beginning. I've seen them in some other qualifiers. They've been looking quite well. Of course, they have a few known players, to say the least, in them. NJ, Yamate, and you also have Any Human, KYXY is hiding behind that name. So I do expect them to take this 2-0, but I have not seen Team 425 going through the Open Qualifier bracket yesterday, so I don't know, maybe they can surprise us here.
Yeah, it might be surprising, but as far as the Mongolian team is concerned, I think they only have one particularly notable player on their team, whereas New Beginning obviously has a lot of experience between them, like multiple TI attending players on top of just having been practiced as a team for quite a long time. I think that the Mongolian team, they're not even the most well-known Mongolian team.
Yeah.
So
Most well-known Mongolian team would be the Mongols, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's in the name.
Yeah. They're quite cool. I mean, I've seen some of their games. Like, I'm not sure if they have roster changes or whatnot, but I've seen them like a couple months ago. Quite fun to watch, even though they've never had too much success either. Yeah, we'll see. Ogre Magi, Shadow Shaman. They're opener here with a 1-2 punch, picking up the 4 and the 5 position immediately, as it seems. So interesting.
Yeah, I think that was quite a strange approach to start a draft with, because Ogre and Shadow Shaman both kind of feel closer to a 5 role than a 4. Like usually if you pick an Ogre, you want to pick a more long range or greedier support. So the Ogre's going to play the mid as like, he's going to start with buying the Uv at the start, and you're going to have a lane support that can be more greedy. So Shadow Shaman does fill that role. On the other hand, Shadow Shaman has been feeling a little bit weaker this patch to me on account of losing the extra wards at level 20. So his ability to actually take over a game as a greedy support is a bit more reduced. Used to be, you'd get the Aghanim Scepter, you get level 20, and then he's like ending the game.
Yep.
Now it doesn't quite feel as strong.
Can still like take a surprising number of objectives if he gets to a point where it's Axe on top of the Refresher Orb, and then that's extra attack for to actually get rid of the wards. So it makes things very tricky, but getting to that point is going to be an issue, especially in this game. Like, you have the Park and a Tiny for New Beginnings, so pretty good 1-2 punch as well. Park probably in mid, Tiny. I don't know. What's your opinion on a Tiny in this patch? Because I've seen him in almost every single role throughout all the regions. So
I think he's most favored as an offlane hero, but mid and carry are also acceptable. And because they have a Puck, I'm kind of inclined to think that the Tiny's going to play safe lane, because Puck playing mid is not quite as strong as it used to be. That being said, both of these heroes versatile and going in any roles, which when you have last pick is something that you want to aim for. So once you get into the last pick, it can basically be any role, and so you're super versatile in what your last pick is actually able to be. The Puck being on the other team is also probably why they opted for a Shadow Shaman. Just because, you know, Shadow Shaman's got 2 strong disables that are enough to keep a Puck down. It's quite soft on the other hand against Tiny. Hard disables against Tiny, very frustrating, because you're like, oh, I've hexed the Tiny, and then he's not hexed like a second later.
That is resistance. Frog, etc. Yeah,
it's quite ridiculous.
It really is. The Shadow Shaman will not necessarily be very happy about that. And Disruptor, well, not going to be happy about that either. It's like, it gets harder and harder to actually get a good shackle duration off on any hero that you find. Like if you don't catch the puck, then you're just gonna cancel it with either coil or the silence, or by just killing you. Straight up, Tiny, similar idea, and now just dropped it with Mims and Static Storm and everything. So you're beginning with a very solid 707 draft so far, you could say. A lot of teamfight control, a little bit of burst damage, and going towards this mid-game teamfight idea kind of thing with the extra push that you already have from the Tiny, so also have that particular avenue covered. But Team 4-5 now, going back for the Gyrocopter, adding some extra magic damage of their own into the mix.
Yeah, I think the new beginning draft is just doing a very good job of keeping the options open so they can get a very big last pick. And Disruptor Earth Spirit, pretty unsurprising counters to Shadow Shaman. It's going to be almost impossible for the Shadow Shaman to actually get into this game now. They've got 4 interrupts for the Shackles. They've got, like, 2 of them have extremely long range, or 3 of them if you count the Tiny's Tree Toss. There's basically no chance of the Shadow Shaman achieving anything in this game at this point, and he's kind of priced into doing so because he's paired up with an Ogre.
Yep. Well,
I think Underlord not really seeing what that is. I believe that the strategy here for 4-5 is they want to win quite early. They want to group up and push. Yep. They want to utilize Gyrocopter's mid-game strength, Shadow Shaman's mid-game strength, even Ogre. Like Ogre, Shadow Shaman, they're not going to do too well coming into mid-late game, but if they're just grouping up and pushing, they're not going to be falling behind, whereas Disruptor Spirit might have some trouble dealing with constant pressure.
Seems to be the way to go here. Underlord with maybe something like a quick mechanism, not grouping up every single time the Shaman wards are off cooldown, and just use that to take down tower after tower. But I'm a bit worried here, because between that gonna have the puck having a decent time, unless you just run him in the offlane alone up against this a potential tri-lane, and exposed to these earlier levels to these shackles.
Yeah, you also have to be very concerned about the puck cutting your creep wave when you're trying to group and push, and the puck and Tiny just split pushing. Tiny will, you group up as 5 and you try and push a tower, Tiny will counter push at the same speed as you do. You're not going to actually achieve anything. So I would be pretty concerned right now that I don't have good catch as 4-5, and I'd want to be picking something that can actually punish the puck and Tiny for split pushing.
Also gotta wonder what how the laning stage will look like, because on Team 4-5, right, you have the Ogre who you can kind of sit him in mid for a little bit and say, hey, you punch me, I punch you, I'm super tanky, so win a trade. So that might just keep the Earth Spirits kind of tied down to match that aggression a little bit in the middle lane. But eventually you're gonna know that he's gonna start roaming around, putting on pressure on quite vulnerable heroes. In Gyrocopter doesn't have the highest health pool, so he's taking a bit of harassment there, gets stunned up. You can definitely see that Earth Spirits mixing things up early to a point where Team 4-5 doesn't even get that chance of getting through the laning stage into the items, into that position where they can comfortably 5-man into towers, into Disruptor more importantly as well.
Yeah, I think you've basically got 2 choices with your last pick here, and it's also worth mentioning that because 4-5 had, they've got first pick, they wanted the Underlord more importantly than whatever it is they're planning on picking mid, which obviously signals that we are really all in on this group and push thing. We don't want an offlaner that, you know, is more catch oriented. We really want to push. So it may just be the case that they want to last pick a Medusa style hero. Of course, Medusa already been banned, so it's.
In terms of pushing heroes out the mid lane would be just DK left, but instead they go for Viper, so yeah.
So now you're really just all in on the push, and it's going to be up to the puck and the Tiny in this game to split push against this, and I think that they'll be up to the job.
Are you fine running the puck mid now, being this Viper, or do you looking for a different hero, put puck off lane after all?
5 seconds remaining.
It really depends on what they've got in mind for the last pick. Given that they were out of reserve time, they didn't have much time to really think about it, and whatever plan they already had in mind, they probably were just going with. Because if you're in a team, you're drafting last pick, and you're just like, you have so many options, but you've only left yourself 30 seconds. You can't just be like, am I picking a carry? Am I picking a mid? You go with what you already had in mind. And I think that they had this in mind: safe lane Tiny, off lane Puck, and obviously Sniper is exceptionally good at dealing with pushes. So their plan is Sniper, Spirit, Disruptor, sit on the towers that they're trying to push, Tiny and Puck split. And it's a pretty easy game plan to execute, just because 45 are not representing any catch whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, what do they actually have? They have rockets, and outside of that, just walking in essentially, and maybe eventually Shadow Shaman will get himself a Blink Dagger.
Shadow Shaman with a Blink. Shadow Shaman with a Blink is the only thing that they can play dynamically with.
Well, see how it works out. Game number 1 of a best of 3 series. So if this doesn't work out, the Mongolian squad does have another chance to make it through, but well, new beginning. Quite a powerhouse here, looking to punch the ticket to the close qualifiers for ESL One Genting 2018. Yeah, it
so
works.
Interesting that the Ogre has not started with move. The Shadow Shaman's gone for boots instead. So the Ogre is going to start as a hard 5 right from the beginning, which means he's going to have a lot of trouble actually doing anything in the mid lane. Like, there's going to be a sniper in the lane. He's essentially just going to be using his HP pool as a buffer to prevent the sniper from hitting creeps. He might just be standing there while the sniper's on his tower hitting him. Because otherwise...
Yeah, I mean, what else do you do? I mean, you just run the Shadow Shaman there, trying to maybe smoke up at the early levels, coming from the backlines.
He might do that anyway, since he has the boots. And at the same time, he's needed at bottom, because if you let the Puck solo the Gyro, Gyro's going to have a lot of trouble. And Shadow Shaman is extremely good at zoning out solo offlaners. It's quite likely, although the Earth Spirit can just roll up on the Shadow Shaman, so him having the boots at least will kind of stop him from being a liability.
Yep.
On the other hand, he still is kind of a liability, because Earth Spirit rolling on you with the move, although he has boots as well. Another interesting decision. But,
well,
so the Earth Spirit will be able to match the Shadow Shaman with his boots.
So Shadow Shaman's caught out a little bit too far out, and the Puck is also there with just like 1 or 2 extra right clicks. And Shadow Shaman will all of a sudden find himself on the receiving end of all of that pressure, and might even get up first blood, depending on how
Puck
the
has
game works out.
10 tangos in the south, the Shadow Shaman's 5 tangos, so the Shadow Shaman is not going to be able to trade infinitely with the Puck.
Yep. Well, I'm not even sure what's wrong here. Just asked for a second like 2 minutes ago.
This is pretty standard run for him. Pause at the start of the game for 10 minutes.
Back in the day, I casted some South American Dota as well, quite a lot, and yeah, it was the same story really. Just pause, make sure that everything's in order, and then go.
It's just, there's 10 guys in this game, and you know, most of these guys aren't actually playing the game full time, got a team mouse and all that junk. So somebody's just got internet connection problems, you know.
Well, in case it's the Vipers currently still disconnected, so you'll be able to fix that soon. In the meantime, we can maybe start talking about these other lanes. Like, in the top lane, you're gonna have the Underlord probably alone for the most part, and generally speaking, he's considered to be quite a tanky big slug. But that doesn't mean he's immune to be zoned out, right? How does it fare up against what's supposed to be a Tiny and
He should be a Tiny and a Disruptor.
Yeah.
Disruptor is not particularly good at zoning out with damage, because Thunderstrike is extremely expensive, costs 130 mana, which as a zoning spell is definitely on the high end. He can only cast 2 of them before having to clarity up, 3 if you wait a bit. And Underlord, he's only packing 5 tangos. So, but the thing is, Tiny with the tree grab cleave is going to be able to harass Underlord because he's a melee hero pretty effectively, and the Disruptor won't actually have to do the damage zoning on its own.
Yep.
So the Underlord will be able to stay in the lane, but I don't think he's going to be able to hit the creeps that much.
We'll be ready to go soon.
On top of this, let them know. Appreciate that.
Only a limited amount of pause time. And they were almost too late as well. I mean, Yamato also had some PC issues earlier. But New Beginnings still got the lobby earlier than the Mongolian squad did. 425, that was the name. Trying to remember that. Later today we've got Hanoi Geniuses versus 496 to Taiwanese, to Vietnamese teams. There we go.
Yeah, 496 is Vietnamese.
Yeah. I know what it is with ACA teams and their numbers. Like earlier in brackets, I've seen 1020. I've seen him before as well, but there was also another team 2010. So yeah. Now 425 in this one, 496 in the other.
It's always confusing as well.
There's also 818 Esports, Kappa 123. Way back in round 1. 1K Gaming, alright.
There's like 3 different teams called Neon Esports, Neon Genesis, Neon whatever.
There's also Team NP, which was a bit surprising to me, but it's easy to see that it's not the actual Team NP. Yeah, even have the NP logo. I'm pretty sure it's not not really supposed
a little bit of plagiarism, maybe.
Yeah. Squad from India, I believe, but they've lost at round 1.
Yeah, I mean, not even creative enough to come up with their own name. What can you expect?
Overall, though, I believe out of all the regions, SEA has had the most teams. Not sure about the Chinese because it
is that in this tournament sign-ups?
Yeah. Talking about North America earlier, they had like 9 teams signed up and only 6 actually showed up or something like that. But no, there were a few extra, 19 teams total, and 17 have checked in yesterday. But
I suspect what it is for any tournament that involves, like, you know, you're qualifying for a LAN that's in another country. They're asking for passport details. They're asking for, well, it's mainly passport details that a lot of players don't actually have. Like, you got a lot of people that are under 18, a lot of people never attended an international LAN before. They don't actually have a passport. So you get this sign-up form, and you're like, give us the passport number of all of your players. And it's like, well, I can't fill in these details. So a lot of teams just can't actually sign up for the qualifier because they don't have a passport.
Not sure that works for ESL. Don't believe they have that, at least not for the Opens, because it's a long way to go, right? I mean, after this you still have the regional qualifiers, or like the closed qualifiers that this feeds into with 4 teams. And only then do you actually qualify for the event itself.
It may be the case that teams in Southeast Asia, people in Southeast Asia in general, are more likely to have their passports, more likely to have traveled to other countries before. Because the flights between Southeast Asian countries are quite cheap.
Oh yeah.
Compared to if you live in the United States, for example, there's a whole wide range of places to experience just within your own country that you don't actually need a passport to access.
Well, maybe it's also just that this is Genting we're talking about, right? So
yeah,
the regional minor.
Anybody that lives in Malaysia won't need a passport to get there.
Yep. Regardless, we're finally here in game number 1. Viper is back, ready to dominate mid here. At least that's the plan for him. And 4 heroes up on the top side, looking to try and secure these 2 bound rooms. And Link's not careful, he might even be caught out, but I don't think he'll stick around too long once they realize what's happening.
So yeah, this is a pretty standard movement, I think. Most teams will send their carry into the safe lane by themselves, and the rest of the team is just going to go into the off lane. And you end up trading 2 runes in your off lane with 2 runes in your safe lane. You got the Disruptor hiding in the trees though, praying that nobody sees him.
Nice little new juke spot there that they added. But they're actually gonna find him though. That's a bit of an issue here if they can get in range for Shackles, and they can indeed. Firestorm for some extra damage, slowed down, even body blocks coming through, so, well, first blood drawn here by Caddis on the Ogre Magi. I was kind of lucky, or maybe it was next level. I don't know if they saw him go into these trees in the first place, but, well, they get the first blood, they also get the creep wave, so they'll secure level 2 for the Underlord, unless the Disruptor can slow that down, but he won't really be able to do that for too long.
So this is what you want to do on Disruptor most of the time. You want to level Kinetic Field to Harass and not Thunderstrike, because it's mana efficiency, 70 mana to 130.
Also help them make sure that they can drag the creep waves next to each other.
Yeah. I think in the mid lane you might notice that the Sniper lines up quite well against the Viper, especially since the Viper's rework doesn't quite dominate lanes as well in the early game, because Poison Attack has that long cooldown earlier on.
Yep.
So combined with Earth Spirit poising up, yep.
And it's rolling in, Shrapnel coming through. No kill potential quite yet without level 2 on the Earth Spirit. Just sorting him out, making sure that Sniper has an easy time in mid. NJ, well, level 1 Illusory Orb down bottom. Puck is still a bit susceptible to this rocket spam that Quagard is going for. But yeah, now he has Phase Shift, so he'll always be able to dodge these out.
He's still quite good as far as trading region is concerned. The Shadow Shaman's still on 4 tangos. The Puck's already used his salve, it's down to 7 tangos. But the Puck's got the lane control, so he's gonna get all his levels pretty safely.
Be range creep here, and under the tower like that, yeah, sure, you're gonna have a hard time last hitting them most of the time, but the same is true for the other team, so most of the time you're not gonna get them denied if they're in a position like this. I'll roll in here, Quagard sneaks the bounty run away though, before Fractals come in, and well, level 1 Rocket Barrage not really doing too much. NJ just takes it to the face. It's a little bit of extra harassment, but not too much else happening just yet.
Yeah, when you're playing Earth Spirit, you always want to try and get 2 bounty rings with your roll, but he timed that off just a little bit too much and showed up 2 seconds too late. Underlord has decided that he can't really play the lane, he needs to cut, and he's committing pretty hard to meeting them in the middle of the towers. It's quite tempting to do this because you think, okay, well, if I get the 2 creep waves meeting, I can deny all these creeps with 100% XP gone. But he doesn't actually have the range creep here, so he's only probably going to kill 1 melee creep, and then he actually lost the whole creep wave against the Tiny. And given that he's only against a Disruptor and a Tiny, he probably should be getting more out of the lane than he has been. So it's cutting like this is probably not a good idea.
We're falling a little bit behind here. Also in comparison to the Puck. Already level 3.5 here on the other side. So that's how much of an issue is it going to be going forward into the mid game? Because like we were talking about the idea that they have for their strat, and it kind of hinges on the Underlord being able to at least get the levels to have that zoning potential, and also that gold for the mechanism or what other items they want to pick up.
If the Underlord doesn't get a good start, he always has the opportunity to catch up with Firestorm. He just needs to be able to farm aggressively and not die, and that might be a challenge. But catching up as Underlord is not too hard. You just need to get the levels.
Oh, doing a bit of a pull of his own here. Try and help with that right now. Meanwhile, oh, Fracture is actually having some issues dealing with the Ogre Magi right now, running him down with the Bloodlust. Should be fine though, making his way towards the tier 1 tower. He's level 2 now, so Earth Spirit, this is where he can roll in and have that follow-up stun to work with. But I mean, I don't know, what lane would you gank the most? Yeah, exactly. Viper is not a good target right now with 2.7 Corrosive Skin, so Underlord also still
wants to be playing bottom.
Exactly.
The Puck should, with the Orb of Venom, his plan is to get rid of all the Gyro's regen. He's still sitting on 2 tangos and a salve, but he can work through that. So you can see the Puck has actually got lane dominance here at this point. The Gyrocopter is much more scared of him, and Earth Spirit is posturing, waiting for the opening. The mid lane, nothing is really achievable by either of the supports. just because it's a sniper and a viper.
Well, it's gonna get corrosive skinned all the freaking time here. By picking his key.
It is
sucking into the shrapnel, so.
Esper could also gank the Underlord. He might decide to farm neutral creeps because he doesn't feel like he can get into the lane, and the Spirit could just make his day even more frustrating by leeching experience from that.
Yep.
He is opting to stack, which, if you have a sniper, stacking big camp is not too bad, but I think you just missed the stack there.
Did somehow, yeah. Unfortunate. Not just good for the sniper, but also for the tiny as well. Can also farm it quite nicely with the tree grab. He's actually maxing it out, going for these extra points into toss in this lane. For the free harassment, I guess.
Yeah, the Esper just narrowly escaped getting shuffled. Quick reaction to stun before rolling. If he had just rolled, he would have been shackled mid-roll. Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, it's gonna be a point of contention. TP up top though is alright, it's too late. Yeah, that was a glimpse involved. First time here from Shape of You. Bringing that in range.
It's a very expensive TP as well for the Shadow Shaman, because he just placed that ward in mid and had an opening to wrap on the sniper, which almost certainly would have resulted in killing. Because you see, the dire ward didn't actually see Shadow Shaman's movement there. Shadow Shaman walked in from the top, placed that ward. All of this was not seen by the dire ward.
Yep.
He could have got the wrap on the sniper because, yeah, the F-Spirit rolled in to make a go on the Viper, which would have been the Shadow Shaman's opening, but because he TP'd top, the opening wasn't there. Instead, he just doesn't get anything done. So, very expensive TP.
So overall, so far, I mean, they're working out well for Nubia Gaming, but they're kind of doing well in most of the lanes, all the lanes even. Even mid, you're trading evenly in terms of farm. Top lane, you're gonna try and get the Underlord again. Glimpse back into any human. Does have a toss back potentially, just gonna go for it now here. The slightly mistimed with the roll, but should finally be able to bring down the Underlord. Eventually, that is. Also a big old tree after him. So that's working well. Mid lane, I mean, Yamate's not really been shut down, he's just been farming away. And even in bottom lane, NJ, he's almost level 7 now.
He's a very happy puck. He doesn't have access to the career right now, so he can finish this phase boots. But he's going to be on that pretty soon. And the Gyrocopter has no regen left. If he actually decides to finish this Wraith Band and doesn't pick up any regen, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Well,
even level 6 just yet, he has 2 of his heroes next to him there. They're not really doing anything. They're, I mean, we're talking about the Shadow Shaman with the boots first, maybe looking for him to roam around, try and make things happen with the shackles, but apart from that first blood up top lane, here the rune, haven't really seen any of that. As a result, he's not even level 4 just yet. On the flip side though, Fractures on yours, but has also not been successful either, so...
I think the Shadow Shaman has not been respecting the kill potential as Viper has in the mid lane. In fact, Viper's making a go on the Sniper right now, but Sniper's going to TP out. See, if the Shadow Shaman just shows up on the Sniper at all, we would die for sure.
Go on Quaggot. Actually, outside of Kinetic Field, Bull gets... Oh, that's a nice combo actually with the call. Avalanche coming through as well. Gonna burst him down, looking for more Caddis. NJ will be able to catch up with him, but he's still pretty fast on his feet. No extra slows or glimpses available. But it's a nice combo that I haven't actually seen before. The coil into the glimpse to break it.
Yeah, it's quite creative. A similar idea to the Vengeance puck.
Yep. Well, a little bit of chip damage to the tower, but they're not sticking around to commit for it. Instead, they find themselves a bit of a stack here. Gyrocopter is looking forward to picking that one up, but, well, no joy there.
When you're a carry player and your big camp gets stolen like that, that's just absolutely gutting. I think it's more of a psychological thing than it is an actual serious downside, because big camps are not worth that much. Like, that was 3 camps, that's 300 gold. So 300 gold is around about 1 hero heal. It's not
Again
bad at
here,
all.
Gyrocopter does get the ultimate off. This time though, doing quite a bit of damage in return, but it's just not enough. Punches are strong enough, and that's also the weakness of the Ogre Magi in these kind of situations. Like, you can't do anything, right? You have no threat potential. Turn things around.
Yeah,
For example,
but
Bloodlust,
very
yeah,
short
great.
range
But
stun, that's it. I think if you are not utilizing the Ogre's strength in the early game with the Orb of Venom and seriously dominating a lane, you're gonna lose a lot of the hero strengths. Because you're relying on the Bloodlust to turn one of your heroes into 2 heroes. Oh, the shrine just got wasted. So yeah, definitely not feeling like he's having a good time right now.
maybe still needs to warm up. Who knows? First game of the day, you know.
I think when you're playing a Max Bloodlust Ogre, you're not really planning on playing the game.
Just turn into a Bloodlust bot anyway, so
Yeah,
might as well go AFK, right?
that's exactly it. Not that
You
he had
can,
much choice
like,
at this point.
You can autocast it, right? I mean, like the Lich Frost Armor as well, or something like that. So you just
Can.
press it and then autocast on your teammates.
Hands off keyboard.
Seriously, just movement speed, or just M-click your Gyrocopter, right-click your Bloodlust.
Yeah.
Won't make him too much of a difference with this kind of a skill build, but hey.
They're gonna be all in on the Viper, I reckon. The Viper had a good time.
Yep.
And on top of the Bloodlust, he might be strong enough to win them some fights. Might be strong enough to take them some objectives. Dire are walking over to this bush right now. The Viper's already scared. You can see the tiny bottom and he's still scared.
This tiny, like, he has so much net worth already. I mean, he's sitting at 5.8k, 2,000 gold ahead of the Viper, who's had that decent time in mid, but not really winning it as much as he maybe could or should have either up against the Sniper. They're both sitting at very similar amounts of net worth right now, and Sniper even getting some extra kills up top, or at least helping with these extra kills. Almost claimed by the Magnetized from Fractures, and now middle lane continuing to fight with Viper going down immediately though. Ultimate from Gyrocopter trying to set up for Disruptor, but Flak Cannon is barely gonna be enough. Double kill for him as they also brought down the Park, but what cost? Another toss up in the air, counters will turn it into triple kill for the Tinies. So once again, you cannot get away without a hefty trade. Loses Viper and the Gyrocopter like that, sure, you get the Park, but Tiny's just gonna get bigger and bigger. But literally, he is closing in on the second point in his ultimate, but I mean, I guess the saving grace is he's going for the Sanjin Yasha instead of a Shadow Blade or something like that, so you're gonna see him coming, but it's a really going to help.
If you're in this position as Radiant and it feels like the game is escaping from you, you actually do need to take fights like that, but you need the whole team with you, and the Underlord didn't actually show up, so they're fighting from behind, and the Underlord also didn't use his TP because he had already TP top.
Yep.
You see, it's still on cooldown. This is something that you can probably see a lot of the time in like tier 4, tier 3 teams. It's just a little bit uncoordinated in just bringing everybody to that 10-minute fight when you really do need to bring everybody, which is what Dire did. They were able to overwhelm them with numbers.
Ask. It gets scouted out here by Fractures, didn't actually pull the trigger in any sort of role play. Being plopped down. Can I get a glimpse?
It did look like there was a glimpse opportunity, but he didn't go for the Thunderstrike.
I mean, he did have the water on the high ground, so definitely saw him. He didn't want to waste it, or
all he had was the Ogre with him.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Well,
because he can see the Shadow Shaman, but he can't see anybody else. The Gyro's farming the jungle with the Underlord wasn't showing.
Radiant Ward also up on the high ground, so they see all of these movements now. The beginning. This time they have more heroes here, the entire Radiant lineup in this general area. Quaggot farming up the jungle, and it's the only thing that they have going for them. The beginning though, immediately spreading out.
He dropped 1 sentry on the low ground. He's anticipating either a lane ward in the mid lane, or he's anticipating it being on the cliff, but it's actually on the big cliff, and he's pinged that out twice now.
Invested in the sentry, which they're doing right now, Ogre has it.
Yeah.
They'll find it. There it is. Let's have a fresh set of tangos, so he can even eat that himself. It's good. Yeah.
I think he actually brought the tangos with him. I think at this point you buy a Calling Blade if that's your plan.
Alright, smoke up. Time to make some kills happen here. There could be an opportunity down bottom. Yamate, not exactly the most survival one if you can actually get him, but Fracture's in a decent position. Not decent enough though here.
They can see the sniper's position, they can see the Spirit's general position, or they now can see his position very clearly.
They're repping all the way around. They want to snipe, they didn't just want the Earth Spirit who was trying to be in that position to be the sentry essentially with Mask. Let's actually get the shackles off. Yamate. They'll be brought down here as the rocket connects. Finding him in the side, the Fractures will also be gone at the same time. Underlord tanking up the initiation here from Tiny as well as the Selexon from Disruptor. 2-for-1 trade so far, but KYXY in a lot of trouble himself. Glimpse back on the Gyro before he can get the Rocket Barrage through. Viper still on the front lines, finishing up the Disruptor and now slowing down Tiny. Any human. And a lot of trouble, but to find NJ instead. 4 years down, just like that. Damn.
Yeah, you can see that they had a really good initiation there, and Dire still decided we're gonna take these guys in the fight, and
very questionable.
It almost went well for them. It almost went well for them, but it still was a pretty bad fight to take. It's really hard to cut your losses in that situation because it's a sniper we're talking about.
Yeah, sniper didn't do anything. Fractures also like had to play with against a couple of heroes before reinforcements came in. It was never really 5-on-5 team fight. Not even close.
But you can still see the Tiny. It's very hard for them to kill him. All of Radiant's lineup are quite disable heavy, and Tiny kind of counters disables.
Oh, triple Fractures. Earthspirit does get the magnetized off here and shackled up. Cannot probably get too many extra stones in. Tossed up, but Viper starts to right click away. They finally finish up the Tiny, and a lot of money here for him. Now, MJ on the run, just have the face shield and stuff to work with. So should be fine with the extra orbs. Same time though, the damage over time is way too much.
Yeah, the Viper's definitely... The Viper's what they play for.
Well, according to the fight recap, he did 2.3k damage that fight, pretty decent. Valkyrie also coming into his zone though. Yeah, you do have the Mask of Madness, so you can get all these flak cannon shots off very quickly. The magic damage is still something to be reckoned with here.
Yeah, I think at this point, Dire need to realize that Radiant's group and push strategy is coming online, and then they need to start pivoting into the split push style.
Yamate had that idea. It was just down bottom, throwing down a few shrapnels here and there, forcing a reaction before TPing back up top. But a Maelstrom hasn't completed by the looks of it. Yeah. You all know. Oh, the Mithril Hammer available on the career. He'll be able to continue his farming speed essentially, or just ramp it up even. Still slightly behind.
Shadow Shaman is closing in on his Blink Dagger, which will give Radiant the catch they desperately need.
Still in a very defensive stance though. They're barely moving even into their own jungle or past that line.
It's because that they don't have the mobility. Even though they're strong together, like the heroes can't individually move and push lanes out. So it feels quite constricting because you're like, well, I'm a Viper, and yes, we can fight if we're all together, but we can't just 5-man down one lane. That's obviously going to be extremely inefficient.
As you say that though, it looks like, yeah, that's what they might end up having to do here. They're smoking around to the other side. Even throughout the scan to try and find somebody inside the Dyson jungle, but first thing in this area is Yamate, who's quickly working his way towards the
Ogre is just straight to a tower.
Be 1-4 trade, tier 1 for tier 2 bottom.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, this feels really bad for Radiant. This is exactly what you'd expect to happen when you're 5-manning. You just trade one lane for two. Your entire team is built around grouping and pushing. You just always a 2 versus 1 lane. It's always unfavorable trade. you need to somehow force fights. And I think now the Dire have realized that we can't just overpower them with strength. They're going to pivot back into the more disciplined strategy of split pushing. That said, they are grouping S5 now, which is, I'd say, a little bit unsound.
Not quite S5.
Sniper.
Yamate just says, yeah, screw you guys, I'm farming.
Mhm.
And yeah, okay, they're smoking to try and get out of that situation. Yeah, it's as you said, right? They're playing this strategic game, just dodging out these fights. They kind of running circles around 4 to 5 essentially here. Just
don't let them get what they want.
yeah. The smoke dump is about to expire though, and a haste rune in the middle of that. They can do something with it here. They have a lane ward that's scouted out the Underlord here just a little bit. They're being in and out of vision there.
Yeah, the Underlord is spading. He has a pipe and he has a mech and a hood. It's pretty much invincible. You see the Underlord farming, you're just like, I do not want to jump that guy.
Yeah.
In fact, if you really wanted to next level your opponent as the Underlord, you could go doing that while you're alone. You just show up in a lane, completely ridiculous positioning, and just be like, yo, what up? You gonna do something about this? And they probably won't.
Wait, I have my team next to me.
Yeah.
Be careful, guys. In this case, it is true here. The grouping up is 5. Making that strat happen here with the Bloodlust. Bloodlust is the gyrocopter, I believe, instead of catapult. Slightly inefficient. But it's
I tried to fight
beginning,
here,
yeah.
not what you want to do.
Human don't quite get the Shadow Blade hit in, but still finds initiation. Toss back on the Viper under the tower into the Static Storm, but actually manages to make his way out of it. Not going to be enough with the actual headshots from Yamate. So 1-for-0 trade so far. Shackles with the wards, but Mask like left to his own devices. The rest of the team has to try and run away. It's not really going to work with the glimpses, with the Magnetize starting to take away. Gyrocopter gets sniped. Another double kill for any human. Triple kill. As that gets turned into that with the kill on
the Underlord was getting a little bit greedy and farming the big camp while they're trying to push. They had the Viper out in front. In fact, the Viper went so far in front that he was standing next to the tower and totally isolated from the Underlord. Didn't benefit from his mech at all. Didn't benefit from the aura.
Yep.
He was
isolated. He also got tossed back even further into the Static Storm and whatnot, so it was a bit of an issue. You're tanky with the Grosser Skin, but at this point, not that tanky.
The Underlord has to be in front.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the Underlord has to be in front. And the Tiny, very nice movement by him. Running in, just kind of stunning and whacking the Gyrocopter a couple of times and walking away. Gained all of their attention. They threw all of their disables on the Tiny, and obviously Tiny's on disabled. Not very good. And he just walked out. And then they've used all their spells. They go for a re-engage, and it goes like they did.
Yep. Oh, as a result, they keep the tower alive. Get that extra on Shell Shaman just now, and they have complete map control right now, it seems like. What's the next set of items? BKB on the Tiny. Gonna make things quite a little easier for him. Sniper Yamate also has a Hurricane Pike completed just now. Maximum mobility, extra defensive utility for him. I mean, that's the other thing, right? It's, can also do the Hurricane Pike if he wanted on the rocket, but did not to do that. Missing out on like what, 25 gold or something what you have, but there it is. Blink Coil, Fractures, little double stun to follow. They're gonna bring down one, even committing Static Storm for the match. They want these easy kills, and they do get it. Glimpse back, make sure that Disruptor will not fall to the Viper.
Just grabbing these two very, very immobile supports on the division. The counterplay just isn't there. The 3 cores on Radiant don't have the mobility to reinforce anybody if they're not as a big group.
Yep. It's like the weakness of this kind of draft, isn't it? Like, you have this 5-man lineup, but if you lose like 1 or 2 of these puzzle pieces, it all falls apart.
Yeah, a lot of people like to think of kind of push strats as being very easy to execute, but they're very fragile. If you don't execute it perfectly, this is what's going to happen.
The 10k advantage now. Also concentrate on the sniper and the tiny. Because of the BKB completed now, looks for hard next right now. That's queued up. So,
and I think if you're Radiant right now, you're looking at your strategy and you're seeing that your opponents are like considerably ahead of you. And given your lineup, you can't farm your way out of this situation. So you pretty much just have to go and take some more fights and hope that they work well for you this time.
yep. How
You
does
have no
Roshan
split
factor into this
group and
game?
push.
Like, is it something that they can maybe try and sneak? Or do they just have to wait for a new beginning to try and get in and contest at that point?
I think sneaking Rosh, as you say, definitely an option, and it's actually one that they might try for. I think you go for this smoke, you look for a pick. If you don't find a pick, you go into Rosh. They're gonna find the disruptor here though.
Yep. Fairly easy here, but as I say, it does get Static
Not
Storm
very
off, kind of running into it, but BKB and Jarkov is still fighting 1v1 up against the Tiny. And just punching each other, toss up in the air on the Ogre Magi. Down 3 picked up, they're all lost 2, and the human doesn't actually have the quite the damage output they're looking at for. Yamate wasn't quite in the middle of that fight, or even on the edge of it, for quite a while, so still lose 2 for 1.
Yeah, so this is Radiant just, like I said, you're behind and you think, oh, the team is weak, we have to dodge fights now. That's not how you can play this game. With your strategy, all your strategy is team fight, team fight. Doesn't matter if you're 10k go behind, doesn't matter if they're all 3 levels early, you still take fights, because you might just get the favorable exchange.
Certainly won that fight. They also committed the Serpent Ward to secure Roshan, so now Aegis in the hands of Gyrocopter. That makes a 10k gold lead that New Beginning still holding on to despite all of that. Seem like less grueling to say the least, because you're gonna have Gyrocopter twice in these fights. And apart from the call down, like you're always only gonna get one of those in any fight, but the more rocket barrages, the more homing missiles you can spam out, the better. Even a flat cannon, so he's done quite a lot of work in that last fight. Even face to face up against the Tiny.
Yeah, I would say giving the Aegis to the Viper would be preferable, because Gyrocopter is kind of all-in on his flak and cooldown, and the Viper is kind of the hero that is still strongest on your lineup. And when Viper dies, he comes back, he's still as strong as he was. But both choices respectable still.
I mean, if in New Beginning I start to be worried, or do you just shrug it off and say, alright, our cause is still live, we still have farm, keep the lanes pressured?
I think you're not concerned at all. If I'm playing with this puck and this Tiny in this game, I'm just thinking like, yeah, it's a bit of a blowback, but how do Radiant actually win the game? They want to grip and push, but we have a puck and a Tiny who can just split push so effectively. The Shadow Shaman needs to be making himself known to the puck. And once the puck is a Lincoln's, that's going to be pretty hard.
Seen too many blink hexes so far.
I think he should be posturing much more aggressively. Like, he could be standing near the secret shop, grabbing the puck right now.
I think a bit indecisive there, thinking about, alright, do we try and go for the puck, or do we just try and go for something else right now? Made the choice, alright, let's secure the jungle.
To just have no vision in that area and kind of stand waiting, because, you know, what if the puck has vision of you?
Yeah.
Then he's going to grab you instead.
Well,
but when you're in this position, you have to take high risk, high reward plays. Like, 5-man smoking to grab a disruptor is not feeling good at all. Look at this 5-man push. There's just the puck top. You're gonna not even kill a tier 1 before this tier 3 dies.
Yeah, this is.
Now we have Shadow Shaman TPing back, which is what you want to do. You want to wait. Okay, Underlord just kind of TPing a little too early. But
I'm still gonna get the tower, so.
Oh no, he's got no mana for shackles.
Bit annoying. Can it still find the kill here? It doesn't look like it. NJ with the call to make sure that a little bit more breathing room, or actually catches his Viper with it. But at this point, far enough away that you can rely on his mobility, his blink, his face shield, all this defensive utility that makes Puck such a nuisance to try and catch.
They did get the tier 1.
That yay, I guess. But like, what they lose? They lost the Serpent Walls. They were committed to try and kill the Puck solo, essentially. That's on cooldown for a while, and you've lost quite a few health points on your tier 3 top. And
yeah,
all the lanes aren't even pushed out all that far. I mean, top lane is the only one not really committing to push there. Middle lane is like on their side of the river, and bottom lane has been taking care of while all that was happening. The New Beginning are not really giving them too many options of just actually getting anywhere on the other side of the map. But he wants these creeps.
Dire posturing with aggressive wards. Radiant have no wards at all. It might even be time for the Disruptor to buy a gem. Disrupt a pretty good gem carrier once he's got a survivability item because he can see high ground with Kinetic Field.
Yep. Oh, Viper, you're all alone here. Tiny sitting next to them here with a big old combo into the Static Storm. Force stuff out of it here before Kinetic Field can come out, but to pluck him right back in with a glimpse. So no harm, no foul. Yeah, some counters are there, looking to try and turn the Z, but BKB used preemptively from Tiny. Just for a TP out. No more mana. Reinforcements a little bit too far out.
I think that the Underlord had a read that the Disruptor was still in the trees, but the Ogre and Shadow Shaman were not interested in checking.
Top lane at the same time. Double catapult wave coming in, and JHG looking for the kill here, at least a bit of, yeah, with the help of Yamate. Be able to secure it. If they had a vision of the high ground, they do, but no assassination or anything. Do it up. Wouldn't have been enough to bring down the Ogre. Yeah.
I think you should be hexing the siege creeps right now. They do serious damage.
Up to 126 just due to all this constant pressure on the lanes.
Yeah. The choke has begun.
MJ, like, talking about the Shadow Shaman having to make his presence known, but he's just gonna get picked off. Yamate is just hitting so hard and so fast at this point. They're gonna bring down Shape of You with the hacks as well as the Rocket Barrage.
Oh, the Puck has the Lincolns now.
We need more than that. No card available for another 10 seconds. Underlord ultimate though forced out as well, just to make sure that they can survive. Moving all the way back to the Ancient. Creep F coming through. Not really committing. They just need a couple of extra right clicks on the tier 3 to bring it down, but
I think Puck
there's
will,
no reason
Puck will achieve this here.
Oh yeah, he can easily do that, right?
Yeah.
Go for one at a time. And bonk. Alright, so what's the solution to this?
You have to hope that the Puck messes up, and it's certainly possible. Playing this way as Puck and executing it flawlessly and consistently is not as easy as it looks. So the Shadow Shaman has to be playing for the Puck not reacting quickly enough to his Linken's breaking. For example, if the Shadow Shaman is sitting in the trees, casts Ether Shock on him to break the Linken's and then immediately hexes, the Puck won't actually have time to react. Whereas if he blinks in vision of the Puck, casts Ether Shock, the cast time on that's going to be too long. The alternative would be if the Shadow Shaman buys a Force Staff, he can break the Linken's at instant speed and hex simultaneously.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But such a backdooring it, because why not?
This is, they even have a ward in the lane, they saw him coming.
I think he was inching forward on through the trees. Not sure. But they're still being pulled apart time and time again, and well, whenever they see someone isolated, they just have Yamate there ready to blink away.
At least you don't have to worry about defending that objective anymore.
That's an argument here that you can always say when you've lost like all your racks, you have like creeps. It's like, oh yeah, guys, at the very least, we don't have to worry about defending racks anymore. So all good. Just a quattro bad plays anyway. Yeah.
Play for killing the sniper. It's worth a lot of money. The puck's just annoying, but all he's got is use on other things. At this point, investing a lot of resources into killing the puck is distraction.
The distraction that KBXY on Tiny and Yamate on the sniper will be very happy about.
Smoking for Rish, but
yeah.
And they might be just in time. Mask of Madness turned on. There's no blink initiation though, so even though they break their smoke and see that there's somebody in there.
Well, they might be able to bring the shackles, will be silenced out though. Now the Static Storm to make sure Yamate gets some extra space, and well, Disruptor should take out to the damage over time, but maybe not. The knockback here actually helping keep him safe. BKB used, but it's not gonna be enough. Yamate just can't get himself an easy kill. Viper.
Yeah, attack speed on the sniper right now.
Very bad. Oh yeah. One of these moments was like, alright, let's turn around, let's BKB, let's get out of here, but it's too late already. No solution to that hero really. Especially now with the item scepter in hand, like what do you do?
Do Radiant have any smokes left?
Not sure. I don't think you could see
You
it
just
in
gotta
the
go
shop.
for it. Defending high ground at this point is the fool's errand. No matter how perfectly the fight goes, if Dire are positioned reasonably, they're going to siege with the sniper very effortlessly. You just have to run at them, hope that they're split, take a 5v2 or something.
Fargo still has his BKB to work with Yamate and Human coming through, and they burst on the Augmenter instantly. And now with BKB, Yamate actually sitting in front lines right now though with the Agnes, with the AJC doesn't really care. And
Yeah, they go for that play without the
easy kill
right there. Oh, sick.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
One of the tower dies in the middle of that as well. Still have
They
the
went,
catapults blinking
they
away.
went for that play without their Shadow Shaman. The Shadow Shaman's there in the catch.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Alright, Coil on to 3. BKB on Viper, but Yamate blinking away. He'll just be very happy just getting yet another kill. He has no buyback, and Gyrocopter doesn't have it either, so GG is called. Bit of an anticlimactic ending. They do climb the ages at the very least, so they can be happy about that.
Radiant's bottom tower.
So that's about all they get.
Dire victory.
I think coming into game 2, Radiant are going to have to draft themselves a little bit more dynamic lineup, something that's not just relying on grouping and pushing. You need to attack on more than one axis, because you're beginning there just obviously demonstrating how easy it is to punish a group and push type strategy.
Just need more options in this day and age. Like you need to have the ability to play from behind. You needs multiple forms of initiation, multiple sources of damage really, and it didn't quite have all of that in this game. So we'll see what they can do though. It is a best of 3 as I said. So in game number 2, see whether they can make these adjustments. For now though, we're gonna take a short break. See you soon.